Who on your list is a VIP?
And who on your list is a part of your team that you didn't even know was part of your team? So the big question is this: as real estate agents, how do we figure out where and when to cross the finish line of this crazy business? We're told that we need to build a real estate business that supports us after we pay our dues. Well, the truth is that so many agents spend decades looking for the finish line and never find it. And I don't know about you, but we'll be damned if we're doing open houses until we're 70. You have to have passive streams of income in your real estate business if you want to survive. Well, this is exactly what we're talking about right here, right now, on the Passive Real Estate Agent Podcast. Hey folks, welcome to today's episode. I'm Anthony Nitz and I'm here with my partner,
Matt Stewart.
He almost forgot who he was. Okay.
Is that twice now, I guess?
What's going on, buddy? How you doing today?
Good. How about you, Tony?
Yeah, doing good, doing good. Yeah, it's been a busy day, and it seems like today's the day everywhere they want to do road construction. It's crazy. So it's getting a little.
You used to see Fort Worth. They've got freeways being built and dirt being moved, and yeah, it's a little dusty out here.
But that's good because, right now with, everything being what it was, where everybody was locked down and everything, it looks like there's activity happening. So that's a good thing. So, but hey, what we want to talk about today is your list of people, your CRM, your database, your contacts in your phone, whatever it is, right? And my question to you is, have you built a VIP list out of those people in your phone? Anthony, what is a VIP list? How do I make a VIP list? How do I decide who is a VIP? Well, it's actually a really simple process if you think about it. So let's talk about calling people and staying in touch with people. This is one of the biggest areas where people fail in the real estate space, is just staying in touch with people. And part of the reason a lot of times is they just don't know what to say. So I find that there's typically one of two types of people. There's the, I'm the high D personality. I'm a driver. I'm just going to get it done. And I'm dialing for dollars every single day. And I don't care if I'm annoying to people. You know what? I got a mission and I'm going to accomplish it. And I'm going to call them, and good for you. Wow. I'll give you lots of credit if that's you, because, there's a lot of people out there who are kind of going, I haven't spoke to that client in a long time. What do I call them and say? What do I say to them? What's the reason for me picking up the phone and calling them out of the blue? Hey, do you want to sell your house? Right? That's obviously a given. But, when we're trying to work on establishing relationships and staying top of mind and getting them to give us referrals and things like that, and just remember us when it is time to sell, then we've got to do some things a little bit different. Here's an interesting statistic, and this is from National Association of Realtors, I believe it is, and it is from a couple of years ago, and I'm sure it's updated because they do this particular survey regularly, but it's somewhere in the neighborhood of about 76% of the people who used a real estate agent end up using a different real estate agent later when it comes time to sell or to buy another property. And the reason is because that agent never stays in touch with them. The original agent never stays in touch with them. And so think about that of the business that you've done, even if you've only done, 20 transactions, right? That's 15 of those people will never do business with you again if you don't figure out a way to stay in touch with them. So the VIP list technique. So let's talk about the list. So first of all, where is your list? Do you have it in a CRM? If you're looking for good CRMs, go to thepassiverealestateagent.com. I've got a great CRM. It's only $29 a month. You want another amazing CRM, then let's talk. It's $85 a month. Okay. And so, but you put it into a CRM. Anthony, I don't even have a CRM. Wrong. You do. You have a CRM, not really a CRM, more of a database. And that is this little thing that you carry around in your pocket with you all the time, right? Go into your contacts screen and see how many people you have in your phone. How many contacts do you have? I mean, hundreds and hundreds, thousands possibly, right? Just over the years, over the decade, all that stuff, right? And so it's overwhelming. You go, oh my gosh, how do I manage calling all these hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people every single day? I mean, does that sound like fun to you, Matt?
That seems overwhelming, but I know with the CRMs, you can manage it more easily. You can schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. You can manage it. But even then, I will tell you from my own experience, certain CRMs, unless it's done right, it still gets to be overwhelming because you have big clumps of people that you're supposed to follow up with, other people that you're not, and then other people that you kind of forgot about to attach to an action plan or something like that. You're like, oh my gosh. So here's the simple solution, right? So what you do is you take 2 letters per week, 2 letters per week. And I do it by last name. So for, say for example, this week will be letters, M and Q. So what I'm going to do is something just popped here. I was like, what the heck? So what I'm going to do is I am going to call everybody in my list that has a last name that starts with M and has a last name that starts with Q. Okay. And I do that all this week. And what is my purpose for calling them though? Okay. And actually, wait, let me go back to the letters real quick, because this is very important to understand. Why 2 letters? Why not 3? Why not 1? And I'll tell you why. Because there's 26 letters in the alphabet. Okay. If I'm doing 2 letters per week, then that means that I get through my entire database in 13 weeks. Okay. Well, how many weeks are in a quarter of a year? 13 weeks. So that means if I follow this process and if I write it out and I go week 1 and I number the weeks, 52 weeks or the 13 weeks, I'm sorry. And I say, week 1, I'm doing these 2. And then week 2, I'm doing these 2. And then week 3, I'm doing these 2. And you write that out and you stick to that. That means I will be contacting everybody in my database at least 4 times a year. Okay. At least 4 times a year. And there's a couple strategies behind this as well. Number 1, keeps you top of mind. Okay. Doesn't let them forget about you, because it's, people will remember you a few months down the road, but when they get, 6 months, 9 months, a year, I mean, I've had people that, I've listed or I've helped them buy a house, and then 9 months later they had to sell, but I did a poor job of staying in touch with them. And I come to find out that they listed with somebody else. And I've actually called them back and they went, oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so sorry. We forgot. Because they've got life. They got other things absorbing their mind. They are not focused on, let me make sure that I remember Anthony for every single real estate thing that comes to mind. No. So I have to do this. So two letters a week for 13 weeks. That gets you through all 26 letters. And now you are able to touch people 4 times a year. So let's talk about the VIP call. So here's how the call goes. It goes something like this. It goes, hey, Matt, this is Anthony Nitz with eXp Realty. Hey, thanks so much for taking my call and for, working with me in the past. Hey, I am doing something right now, especially in light of all the COVID stuff and all this stuff. I'm trying to build up a VIP list of all the people that I've done business with over the years, where I can help promote their business. And I'm wondering, are you running any kind of business, or anybody in your household running any kind of business that I can promote? And if the answer is yes, I go, great. What is it? What is that business? And tell me about it. And so now I'm listening to them. But at the same time, I have to be careful. I let them know I've only got a few minutes, but I thought of you. I wanted to call you, because if you don't, then you're on an hour and a half conversation, right? And I don't want to be on hour and a half conversations. Right. So tell me about your business. Okay, what is it? How do we get to it? What's the website? Blah, 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 right? And then I tell them, I go, great, here's what I need you to do. I need you to go to my website and click on the resources link so you can see the other people who are listed as VIPs. I'm sorry, and it's the VIP link. And see the other people who are listed as VIPs, and see if you can help them out, because we're really trying to support smaller local businesses, right? Like yourself. And if you can help them out, great. Also, go to my Instagram and follow my Instagram, because I am going to do a post on Instagram. It's going to be an Instagram Live where I am going to talk specifically about your business. And then I want you to share that with people, okay? So that you get that endorsement out to your people as well. So now I've done two things, or I've done several things. Number one, I get I get back to top of mind of them, okay? I get them to go to my website. Very important little trick tip here I'm going to give you in a second. And then I also get them to follow my Instagram. Instagram is I'll be honest with you, I am not an Instagram person. I just am not. It's interesting, it's fun, but and so I'm having to adopt it, but it is the hot place to go to promote your business. Okay. And so I get them to follow me there. So now my followers start building up again, more and more and more. And then I finish up the call with going, and hey, by the way, can you do me a huge, huge favor? Just like you guys, we've been affected, and business has really slowed down and this and that. Do you know anybody, or actually I put it this way, who do you know who is either struggling to make their payments and need to sell their house? Maybe they're going through a difficult financial situation, or they maybe had a child recently that they need to get a bigger house, or they've just been realizing after cramped in this house for so long that they need to find something bigger. Who do you know who's like that? And there's a reason why I ask it that way. Number one, I'm asking them for business, right? And every once in a while, like a call that I did the other day, I called somebody and they go, oh yeah, my in-laws that they take care of, my in-laws just moved into a retirement home and we got to sell their house. I'm like, great. And they go, and then about 3 months from now, my mother is moving into a retirement home, so we need to sell her house. I'm like, great. Okay. But if I didn't ask, they might not have said. So you got to ask for the business. But the reason why I want them to go to my website, number one, I have a remarketing pixel on my website. Anybody who goes to my website, I've got several websites, but my primary real estate website, anybody who goes to my website, whether they're doing the home search, whether they're looking at information about listing, whether they're looking at the VIP list, whether they're looking at the anything on my website, they get cookied as somebody who visited my website. So now all over the internet, suddenly all they see is Anthony Knits everywhere. Okay.
That's the remarketing.
That's through remarketing. Yeah. And this is such a powerful thing because we're concerned about making sure that we stay top of mind. Right. And when we stay top of mind, the only way to do that is to constantly be in front of them. There has actually been a study that was done that said that when people were studied and they said, how long do you remember what somebody's occupation is after they tell you? Okay. And how long do you think it is, Matt?
Oh gosh, I would say maybe a few months.
A few months. Okay. Good guess. Way off.
Of course. How long is it?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you. 7 days.
7 days.
People will forget what you do after 7 days. So you meet somebody at a party and you go, "Oh yeah, I'm a real estate professional, and this is, how I help people get their houses sold." On day 8, somebody walks up to them and goes, "Hey, we're thinking about selling our house. Do you know anybody?" I don't know. I have
Right.
no idea. Right. And I have a perfect example of this. Perfect example. And, it drives me crazy to tell this story, but I'll tell it anyways. Um, this is quite a few years ago. Me and my wife were at a party, and it was a big networking party for the people that for the stuff that she was involved in. So these were people that I didn't really know at all. Okay. And so we're there and we're standing around and we got cocktails and we're just having a good time, just chit chatting and networking with people. And one of the ladies comes up and they're like, she's like, "Oh, hi." My wife's like, "Oh my gosh, Karen, so good to see you, blah, blah, blah. What's going on?" And this lady uh, um, starts going off. She's like, "Oh, yeah." She goes, "Oh, it's so crazy. My husband just got notified that he's being transferred to, I think it was Texas. He's being transferred to Texas. We've got like 3 months to move. That means we got to get the house packed up. We got to get it on the market. We got to find a real estate agent. We got to do, and she's going on and on and on, telling about what they're going to have to do. And I'm sitting there, going, just so happens I'm standing right in front of you. Right. But I wasn't going to say anything yet. Right. And what does my wife do? My wife just goes, "Oh my gosh, Karen, I hope everything works out for you. Oh, wow." And I'm like, I look at my wife and I literally with my elbow, bam, I elbow her in the ribs nicely, right? And she like looks over me and she goes, "Oh, oh, hey, my husband's a real estate agent, right?" I was like, how does my own wife forget what I do?
Uh-huh.
I do it all that. So if my wife forgets what I do, everybody else forgets what I do too.
Sure.
And so calling people every 13 weeks, yeah, once a quarter, right? Um, and just reminding them that you're there, it kind of just puts you pop back up at the top a little bit before you start to sink back down. And then the remarketing pixel, you get them to go to your site, and you have just an ongoing, never-ending remarketing campaign going. Then you get them to, you stay on that top of mind where they're constantly seeing your stuff. They go, "There's Anthony again. There's Anthony again. Oh God, there's Anthony again." I don't care. I want them to see me all the time.
Right.
So, anyways, guys, this is the VIP list technique of staying in front of people, and also by doing the Instagram live where you're sharing, uh, you know, you're just getting that much deeper with that person. Like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe Anthony posted that nice thing about it," and make it short, 2 minutes, you know. Um, but you can, if you wanted to take it a step further, do a video, a YouTube post about it as well, and put it into your VIP playlist. So when people go to your YouTube channel, maybe they'll watch that, maybe they won't. I don't know, but using opportunities to do that. But there's other people who are part of your list that you didn't even know were part of your list, and they're important people who can not only help support you but build your business for you as well.
Team
Matt,
members.
who would those people be?
The team members.
The team members?
Yeah. The team members.
Like,
Yeah. And
what, like the Angels?
well, yeah, basically the Angels, the Bulls, the Braves.
Okay, good, because I got all those guys in my CRM.
Yeah. Are they going to kneel or are they going to stand? That's the question I've got.
Yeah. Don't get me
That's a
started.
rabbit hole I'm going to stay away from.
Right.
But anyways, yeah. So as an investor, you're going to want people that are specialized in different areas. So there's people like your real estate broker. I have a list here I wrote down. Property management companies, bankers, mortgage brokers, attorneys, appraisers, property inspectors, and insurance agents. So these are all people that have unique skills, knowledge, and talents that will help you with all those different aspects. So as a real estate agent, you have a unique position of being able to be part of that team. Because if you have a real estate investor, a lot of times they're not interested in just one property. They might want to have more than one, especially if that's what they do as a living. They're going to want to, we talked about 1031 exchanges a couple times ago. You want to be that person that they go to when they're ready to sell their place and move up to something larger. Yes, multifamily is specialized, but that's something that you can always learn how to market those types of properties, or find people that have the listings that you can introduce your customer to. Because just like a house, you can be a buying agent, you can be a listing agent, you can do both. So that would be a unique position that could help you out. And if you know people, mortgage brokers that do investment properties, you can help your investor by introducing them. A good CPA. I don't know if that was something mentioned, but a really good CPA that understands the buildings as a business. That's a good asset, a team member to have. So those are the people that you want to seek out and help people if you can introduce your clients to.
And it's not just as an investor, as a real estate agent as well. You're looking to have the right people on your team.
Sure.
Right. But one of the things about building a team that I've experienced over the years is you got to find people that, number one, know what they're doing, right? And who are going to be, you can't exactly expect them to be, quote unquote, loyal to you as far as sending you business, whether as an investor or as a real estate agent, but they are at least, you're in that list, right? Because they're working with other people too. You can't, it's hard to say, like, I can't go to my title insurance guy and say, hey, you've got 300 clients that you're working with, but I want you, anytime you hear somebody who's selling a house, I want you to call me. It's not going to really work that way unless I'm sending him 20 deals a month and he goes, I want to keep getting that 20 deals a month. I'm going to send Anthony everything, right? So what value are you providing them? But also other way around, as an investor, as a real estate agent, you want to be loyal to them too, right? So I say that because you've got, the mortgage guy. Let's talk about the mortgage guy. You go out there as an investor and you make a good relationship with somebody, and then all of a sudden, they, you got a property, and then they run your credit, because they got to run your credit if you're getting financing or something like that. And then they look on there that you've got 3 other inquiries with other mortgage companies, right? Mm-hmm. They know you're just shopping around, you're just looking for a best deal, which is not an unprudent thing to do.
Right.
But from a loyalty standpoint, they're going to look at that and go, freaking Matt, he's only going to give me the crappy deals, the hard ones, but I want him to give me all the business. And if you're loyal to them, they should be doing good business for you and ultimately eventually refer to you. I mean, would you agree with that? Or?
Yeah, it's a two-way street. We've said this before a bunch of times. It's a relational business that we're in. So you want to make sure that you're treating them right. Now, if you can offer value to the person you're trying to work with, then great. That's where it becomes more two-way.
Mm-hmm. Good on the. What was the first one on the list?
Oh, well, the brokers.
Okay, so brokers, yeah.
Yeah, real estate brokers, management companies, mortgage brokers.
Yeah. So wait. So let's go one at a time. So real estate brokers. So from a standpoint, looking at it from both perspectives, you got real estate investors, right? Mm-hmm. What is the importance of having, these people as part of your team?
Well, it's the broker. That's where it begins, because they are going to be able to help you find the inventory. I was talking to a broker a couple weeks ago, and I said, do you have any properties in the Fort Worth area? He goes, yeah, I have one for you to look at. that's it's not listed yet. Maybe it's a pocket listing, maybe there's something going on, but because of I reached out to him, he was able to say, here's something for you to consider. And whether that property works or does not, I was able to see something that I wouldn't have been able to find out by looking at LoopNet or CoStar or some other listing site.
Right.
That's why that's important. I'm as an investor, I'm looking at building relationships with a number of brokers, because sometimes brokers have more listings and others have fewer. So it just depends on what's happening in the market. So
now let's take the VIP list and apply it to this, because I'll tell you, as an agent myself, I've interacted with hundreds of investors over the last 20 years. And I can tell you right now, I might get contacted by an investor. I still get contacted by probably 3 investors on a regular basis. And all it is just email too. It's not even a phone call or anything like that. It's an email. Okay. And so low level contact, but still I'm only being contacted by 3. So if you want to have those brokers as part of your list, could you call those brokers as an investor? You call those brokers and you say, hey, Matt Stewart, broker, do you have any properties that I can look at? We're really looking to buy. We want some stuff, and this is what we're looking for. Can you help us out? Couple things. Number one, they're looking at, great, if they have a pocket listing, man, they have an opportunity to make more money, because they're going to represent the listing and the selling side where that's allowed. We understand that dual agencies are only allowed in certain states, but still, it's an opportunity. And it also makes them look good when they can go back to their client and they go, well, not only did I list it for you, but I sold it for you, right? When they tell their client, because most of the time, we know this as agents, you list it and it's almost always another agent who sells it, right? Because they have more buyers than you have in your list. But then the other thing too is, yes, they have the pocket. Oh shoot, there was another third thought that I had, and it was really good. Let me tell you, it'll come back to me here in a second. But you call them up and say, hey, do you have this? By the way, I am creating a list of VIP brokers or agents in that matter. The third thing was, even if they don't have the listing, now you're on their radar as far as looking for something, right? So some agents are sitting around twiddling their thumbs going, oh, I wish I had a client. Well, guess what? Now you're a client.
There you go.
You're a client, and you're looking, you told them, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for, a 5-unit, a 10-unit building. And they go, oh my gosh, that's money. Right?
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to get up off their butt and go look for a 5 to 10 unit building and hopefully get that fee? And the answer hopefully would be yes. So you say, hey, can I add you to my VIP broker list? And they go, yeah, sure. And you as an investor, you have your website, you have a page set up. It says VIP. Hey, go to my website /VIP. And you're going to see there's other brokers there, but you're there. I'm going to put you there too, and a link to your website and everything. And now they go to your thing. They get a retargeting or remarketing pixel cookie dropped on their browser. And now everywhere they go, they start seeing your remarketing ad that says, we're looking for 5 to 10 unit buildings. Gosh, I got to find something from Matt. He's advertising that he's looking for it. Right. So think about that. That's a good way to go. As an agent, kind of the same thing, right? What was the next one on the list?
Property managers.
Yeah, property managers. What's the big deal about having them on your team?
Well, how involved does an investor want to get in the day-to-day operations of that property? I personally don't want to. I've done property management. I know the headaches that are involved with it. Glad I did it, because now I understand. But you want the property manager, a good one that manages your type of property. You know, do they do A's or do they do B type properties? So they are the ones that are going to take the headaches. They're the ones that you're going to talk to every Monday, like, and go over the financials of what happened that previous week so that you can make adjustments. They also, any maintenance, any evictions, the management of the staff, these guys are going to do all of that for you. They might also know other, brokers that, they know the owners of other properties perhaps that are willing to sell. Okay, there's another opportunity for me to know about a property that I might want to buy, and maybe my agent can get involved and help me make that deal as well. So these are people that are on the ground with the nuts and bolts of the property, and having a good manager is so critical. So it's right. Where the average landlord that's managing himself can last maybe 2.5 years, and then they get burned out because it's too much. They're sick and tired of getting that phone call at 2:30 in the morning. My toilet's exploded. All right, you have the property manager deal with that. You can just sort of manage the manager, and that's why they're important.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's going back to the same strategy too. If you can stay top of mind, and for those guys, you said the key thing right there. They know the owners of the property. Yep. And who are the owners going to tell, you know what, we're thinking about selling? Who are they going to tell first?
Well, me.
The property manager.
Investors, yeah.
They're going to tell the property manager first.
Yeah. And
so if you're the investor and you stay top of mind, and you put them on your VIP list, and you put them in a retargeting campaign, yes, then now you are, because you call them up and say, hey, we're looking for 5 to 10 unit buildings, blah, blah, blah. They're going to go, okay, great. And they might write it down, and they may have a little CRM themselves that they use and this and that. Oops. But sorry. But they, but when it comes to them remembering you, how long do they remember you?
7 days.
7 days, right? But now they see a little thing popping up saying, hey, we're looking for 5 to 10 unit buildings.
Right.
And 3 months down the road, before you've had a chance to call them again, they keep seeing your ad, and they go, oh my gosh. And one of those owners call up and go, we're done. We're selling, or we're doing a 1031 exchange, and we're moving up. We need a buyer for this building.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there you go. What's next on the list?
Well, I wanted to remind people of the different platforms that we've got now that our show's been published for a few weeks now.
No, hang on. Before that, what's next on the list of?
Oh, for the next episode?
No, team members.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were referring to something else. So, brokers and attorneys.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, bankers, not brokers, mortgage brokers. So your financial people that can help you find the funding.
Yeah. So, again, same thing. It just kind of goes around, but so I'm not going to kind of rehash that, but it is important for a good mortgage person so you can get your financing, right? And there's a lot of different, so like in the investing world, what are the different types of financing options that are available?
Well, what you're going to be looking at is who is the lender? Is it a national bank? Is it a regional bank? Is it a local bank? They're all going to have different lending criteria that they want to go through. Is it just a conventional loan? Is it a bridge loan? Is it a construction loan? Those are different types of loans some are more expensive. The bridge loans and construction loans are very expensive, but if you're having to rehab the property, it's a little easier to get into those to then refinance into something more long-term. So some of the local banks may not finance certain types of properties. Also, what's the occupancy? Is it greater than 85% occupied? Well, if it's not, then you're not going to get funding. So there's a lot of factors that go into it that a good broker is going to be able to guide you and tell you, okay, let's talk to these kind of lenders first, because with what that property is doing, the local people are not going to be open to that. But sometimes, they're the local people are really good. Oh, there's also private money lenders. These are people that have money and they will put up the money for you. That can actually, where a bank may not lend, you might be able to get a private money lender that can actually lend you the money. You now improve the property to a point where a more conventional loan would be more possible because you've leased it up, you've repaired certain things. Now the cash flow is happening better, and you can refinance to a 15 or 30-year loan, which is, so there's different ways to do it. There's also seller financing. I've seen a lot of people where they've owned the property for 30 years. Now they don't want to deal with it anymore. They want to sort of get the cash out because they want to travel. Well, they don't want to necessarily sell. Seller financing could be where they're still getting monthly income, but they're not dealing with the operations anymore. So that's another type of financing that people can benefit from.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of creative things. I know a lot of investors do a lot of things like, mortgage assignments and this and that and everything. And I think the key thing is to make sure that, like I said, we're loyal to the people that we work with, but certain people have certain skills and abilities and resources available to them. You need to make a catalog of those people and say, okay, well, this person does bridge loan and construction loans, but they don't do, 1-to-4s. These people do, this, that, but they don't do that, and that way, when you're in a situation, and you go, man, I need some private money right now because I got this killer deal on this place and I'm going to do a flip.
Right.
They're going to look at the project more than they're going to look at you and your credit and your this and that, whatever. Right. So,
well, and that's actually a good key that, there might be times they might want a personal guarantee, but, most banks are going to look at the performance of the property rather than your personal credit. Mm-hmm. They want to see that you've got experience. That's going to be an important factor. But if you have a good return and you're showing their financials of the property and what is the net operating income, they're going to go, yeah, okay, we'll do this, or no, it's not performing very well. We're not going to do this. So that's where you kind of look at different venues to keep in the game and maybe try to work it out. Sure. But one thing that I remember when I was studying at UCLA is one of the financial instructors says, never fall in love with the deal because something could go wrong and you had your heart set on it. And now you might not make the best decision based on that.
Yeah.
Look at the numbers, analyze it, and be prepared to walk away if there's something that's not right with that property. There's always another deal.
Yeah. It's so funny you say that because that's one of the things I love about working with investors is they just, most of the time they just look at the bottom line. Does it pencil out? Yes. Good. Go. No. Buy. Where working with just regular consumers on selling their houses or buying their houses, and you're like, oh my gosh, the emotions that are involved and the fear and the anxiety and this and that. And I'm like, guys, you're really just making an investment. I get it. Trust me, I'm not discounting their emotions, right. But it's a totally different environment. Yeah. You had attorneys next on there?
Yeah, attorneys. There's different kinds of attorneys, real estate attorneys specifically, but then with investments, there's attorneys that do SEC filings, which are if you're raising money from other investors to pool together into one to buy a property, well, the SEC has very specific rules on how that's done because it's investment. There's always a chance of their money being lost. So there's disclosures. They want to make sure that you're an accredited investor. So having an attorney that can help advise you and provide a disclosure for those investors, so they're aware of any risks. That's important. Also, to have an attorney that can help with evictions. We don't like doing evictions. We hope that it never happens, but they do. So you want to make sure that's you got an attorney that can help file an eviction notice or with the courts if it gets to that point.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah. And again, great thing to have on hand, because if there's evictions and things happening, and that property owner calls that attorney and goes, I am so sick of all these evictions.
Hmm.
I'm so sick of dealing with all this. I just don't, I'm done. I need to sell.
Right.
Guess what? Another resource.
Well, and that brings us back to, that's why you want to have a good property manager that's going to screen every application well, so that you minimize the evictions. But when they happen, you can get a burnt out landlord, and they're ready to move
Absolutely.
on.
Yeah. Who's the next person on your list?
From there, we've got an appraiser.
Appraisers,
Again,
yeah.
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 I go ahead. You were going to say something, or
No, I just had a recent experience with an appraiser. And
okay. Yeah, that industry has changed. It used to be the appraisers were more independent.
yeah,
Then, gosh, maybe 8 or 9 years ago, they are now, you have to hire an appraiser through an appraisal management company. I worked for one of those for about 4
there's
years.
still independence. There's still
They're
independence
still
out there.
independent, but they're contracted now through
Oh, no,
the.
no, 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 no. I would argue, at least out here in California, you can still hire an independent appraiser, not
Okay.
through an AMC.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, for whatever it's worth. Yeah.
All right. All
It
right.
depends on what your situation is too. Because
Right.
if you're getting a traditional loan through, Bank of America, yeah, you're getting an AMC appraiser. But
Right.
if you're using an appraiser for the standpoint of, because you would use those for, establishing value, right? For just to see if it's a good purchase. Number one. Number two, it would be for, acquiring additional monies. You're going to need an appraiser, right?
Yeah,
So
they've gone through training, and they have specific ways of looking at the property to see, you know, uh, what the value is. But you can also look at broker price opinions. These are real estate agents that can give you value. It's not quite the same. It's not an official appraisal, but you get a real estate agent that can do a BPO. You're going to still get value based on market comps and so forth. So
yeah,
that's another way. But having a full on licensed appraiser, your bank might want that, and that's good to have a
it's a
good.
good resource to have. Absolutely.
So
What else you got?
we have a property inspector. Okay, this
Oh
right
yeah.
here,
Oh
this is
yeah.
like when we bought our house out here in Texas, we had a really good appraiser inspector, and these are the guys that are going to. If you have a good guy, he's going to look everywhere under the basement, in the attic, and kind of seeing where are the problems. Maybe it's not a big problem, but hey, a couple years from now, that little wet spot over in the corner there is going to turn into something worse. So you want to have a good inspector. That's going to save you, because you might have to go back and renegotiate the price, or ask for an allowance on money back at the closing. So yeah, an inspector is going to be a key team member.
Right. Absolutely. And I can't stress that enough. I know it, in residential real estate, we insist every buyer has an inspection. I can't, the last time we had an inspection waived was years ago, because for that very reason, you just don't want any surprises, because it never fails. You move in, and even if the seller is being very diligent and forthcoming and telling you what they think they know, you start getting into it and you go, holy smokes, they didn't know that the house was wired completely wrong.
Right.
Right. Or
Right.
the building or whatever. So yeah, inspectors are huge. So, and what else? Who else
The
you got?
last one I have is an insurance agent.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I mean,
That
that's
goes without saying almost, right?
and I learned about um, there's also a public adjuster when you're dealing with your insurance policy. The guy, one of my mentors, he does multifamily investing. He also has his contractor license, and he was telling the story about he had a fire in one of his units in the kitchen, and because he's a contractor, he thought, I'll do it myself. It'll cost me
Mhm.
$8,000
Oh boy.
for me to do the repairs. The insurance agents, the insurance company was going to give him 12,000. He thought, great, I can pocket the extra 4,000. But he'd had a public adjuster come out. I think they charged just a percentage of whatever they raised. Well, after looking at the policy, he was entitled to $30,000. Okay, he would have known that. Was it worth the $3,000 he paid the guy? Yeah, to get 30 rather than 12,000. So,
Wow.
so having a public adjuster to look over your policy, sometimes that's can put more money back into your pocket.
Wow. Interesting. I think that's a good thing to know across the board for anybody who has a homeowner's policy or insurance policy of any kind, right? So
sure, that anytime that you can get the most, I mean, if you're paying premiums, let's look at the contract and make sure that you're getting what you're entitled to.
Wow, that's great. Oh my gosh. Well, guys, that's how valuable is the information that we just covered here. I think the stuff we just talked about was incredibly valuable, right? And we have upcoming shows and things like that. Sorry.
Yeah.
We've got upcoming events and shows shows and stuff coming up, and you should tune in. Matt, where should they go to tune in and do that?
We are on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcast, and also YouTube. So however you prefer to listen to us, we ask that you subscribe. And if you don't mind, I know iTunes and YouTube are really good with this as far as clicking the thumbs up, subscribing. I know on YouTube, if you prefer to watch the videos, there's that little bell. If you wouldn't mind clicking on that, that way they'll let you know when the next episode arrives. Right now we're publishing every Tuesday, a new episode comes out.
Yeah. You guys, everything that you do helps, and it also helps us to expand our reach too, because the more people who like, the more people who comment, please, that helps us out, grow the show, and also gives us the opportunity to answer your questions. So if you put a comment in there somewhere, we're probably going to answer it as part of the show, because if you have the question, we know there's 100 other people who have the same question who didn't ask, right? So it's kind of a common thing there. So that being said, anything else you want to throw in, Matt, before we wrap up?
We can be found by doing a search as the Passive Real Estate Agent, and you'll find us there.
That's it. Yeah, just do a search, and we're going to be the ones that come up. So, folks, get your VIP list strategy put together and start moving forward. And don't be afraid to pick up the phone and call these people. Figure out who the people who are in your list are that are part of your team, and start utilizing them to help build your business as well, or at the very least have the right resources available to you when you're doing your investing or your real estate sales. It doesn't matter. In both cases, you got to have your team. So thank you guys all for joining us. We're really, really glad that you spend your time with us. It means a lot to us. And we just, our hope is that we're just providing you with good content, good value that you can take and use. Feel free to share the podcast. Do us a favor, if you wherever you're watching the show or listening to the show, screencast or screenshot the episode that you're listening to, and share it and tag us, so that we can just say thank you. Appreciate that. All right, guys. Thanks so much. We will catch you on the next episode. Bye, Matt.
See you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for listening to the Passive Real Estate Agent Podcast. Hey, do us a favor and subscribe to us on whatever platform you're listening to us right now. Don't forget the likes and the comments. We always appreciate it. And, it really helps others to find this valuable information. Now, look, there's something that both Matt and I and several of our guests have discovered that has radically changed our real estate job into a truly passive income. And it's a little controversial, and that's why we really don't discuss it on the show. But we'd like to invite those truly entrepreneurial individuals to learn more. Just visit thepassiverealestateagent.com and join one of our upcoming webinars. You'll thank yourself later that you did. Thanks again so much for listening. Take care.